Yes, people. It's TWG, the Gym Gooner. And finally, I'm back. And do you know what? I've got the one and only, the judge, Lee Judges, on the Gym Gooner TV. Lee, how are you, man?
Yeah, all good. Thank you very much. Thanks for having us on. Looking forward to it, looking forward to it.
Lee, everyone knows who you are, but where did the journey of becoming an Arsenal fan start for you?
Well, it started with my dad, really. My dad was a big Gooner, but it was could have gone the other way because my mum's side were all Spurs fans and my dad's side were all Arsenal, So one week we used to go to the Arsenal with my dad, me and my brother, and the following week we go to the Spurs watching the Spurs, and my brother chose the dark side and went with Tottenham, and I had done the right thing, and I went with the Arsenal. So it could have worked out differently if if it weren't for certain players at Arsenal at the time. That was the reason really that I went there. I've sort of flirted with Man United when I was younger because going back in those days, the only thing you watched was like the cup finals were live on telly, and Man United were playing in cup finals. That's why success is very important. But once I started going to live games with the Arsenal was the only team for me. Saying about the red and white shirt, so I have to say that it was just saying about that.
Speaking of the Arsenal, what's your what would you say is your fondest or happiest memory?
Oh, no, listen, there's been fantastic memories. Obviously '89 was great. Anfield and all that. For me, like live and being in the ground was 1987 when we went to White Hart Lane in the semi-final, and they was winning with a 1-0 with about 5 minutes to go, and that was the days when Arsenal had the whole of the away end, like the seats at the back and the standing at the front. But the three sides of Tottenham were singing, "We're going to Wembley, we're going to Wembley, you're not," and we just had to take it, just standing there taking it. And then within 2 minutes or 3 minutes, or whatever it was, we was 2-1 up, and you can imagine the scenes. It was like unbelievable,
Absolute limbs.
Oh, it was scenes. It was absolute scenes. I'll never forget going on the train station, because where I live, Cheshunt, is like very much a Tottenham area, so we had to get back on the train at White Hart Lane to go back to Cheshunt, So, and we was standing at the train station. There was about 6 or 7 big Spurs fans, and they was going, if I see an Arsenal fan, I'm gonna smash his head in and all that. Me and my mate Gary was standing right next to them, as we walked past, went, "Come on, you Spurs," and just got on the train and just giving it large. And when we got off, like, come on, you know what I mean? But it was an absolute fantastic experience.
It just shows how true and through Arsenal you actually are. I want to touch on, before we go into a full Arsenal chat, I do want to touch on the Euros, because a lot of what's happened since the Euros, in the Euros, is relevant even today. So, I mean, what were your thoughts on the Euros? Did you believe it was coming home, or did you think England would bottle it at some point with Captain Spursy leading the line?
Do you know what? I did think that we was going to win it. I really did. I felt we'd get to the final. Look, we had this make no bones about it. We had an easy ride to the final. Let's make no. If we was in the other group, other side of the group, I don't think we'd have got through some of those teams. But that isn't England's fault. But ultimately, I said it and I'll say it again, that Gareth Southgate isn't, in my idea, like, say for instance, if Arsenal didn't have a manager and we was linked with Gareth Southgate, I don't think any Arsenal fan would want him. You know what I mean? And I know for a fact when we was mucking about saying, well, like, Spurs is available for Spurs, and none of the Spurs fans wanted him. And I felt that come the final, there was nothing between the two teams. The difference was the managers. Just, Mancini, the decisions that he made, changed it around. And that is what a good coach can do, or a good manager, just making the right decisions at the right time. And that's where I think Arsenal are failing at the moment with not having an experienced coach. But Mancini just showed his class, particularly in that cup final. I see that first 20 minutes, England were all over him. And he was trying to sort it out, trying to do that, And I don't see that from Gareth Southgate. I just, we was getting more and more pulled back and pulled back. You could see what was going to happen. And I said all along, if we let it go to penalties with that goalkeeper, you know, you could see that their confidence grows. They know that he's going to at least save 1 or 2 penalties. And if you're in that position where you know he's going to save 1 or 2 penalties, you know you're in for a good chance of winning it. So I felt that when it went to penalties, but in saying that, we was in a fantastic position to win it when Marcus Rashford stood up. You know, if he'd have put that penalty away, I think it would have been too much pressure on Italy, but it wasn't to be. You know, he tried to be too precise. He actually sent him the wrong way, didn't he? But post and so you know, it's not coming home, and you know, so we just have to accept it. But you know, do you know what? I don't know about anybody else feels about it. The actual semi-final, I was, you know, like it felt real and everything. But when we actually got to the final, it didn't feel like it was a final. It was very surreal the whole day and everything about it, you know. So, but we got to the final, and you can't be too critical of the team for that.
No, definitely not. I mean, for me, the moment where Jorginho missed his penalty, I mean, because he's got that hip, that little hop and skip technique that he does, and I thought he's going to put this game to bed, and that's it.
I wish he had done that, by the way. But
what was your favourite thing about the Euros?
Do you know what the favourite thing about it for me was? The country getting together and really enjoying it. It was a feel-good factor around wherever you went. You know, I had people coming in my shop, women that are not really into football, but were into it because it was England. And I think that's a great thing about it, going socialising with your mates, because you haven't been really able to do that for a year or so. So I just think that the all-togetherness of everybody getting together and the atmosphere around those games was fantastic. You know,
100%.
Yeah, I think that was the highlight for me.
My highlight, sort of on the pitch, was the refereeing, the VAR decisions.
Yeah, brilliant, fantastic.
Why do you think that it was such a success, and why that can't be replicated in the Premier League?
Because we're just not good enough. You know, the people that were refereeing didn't really make too many mistakes. And if it was a mistake, you know, I mean, I've never really felt that there was a mistake where you could turn around and go, "Whoa, that was massively wrong." You know, it was borderline. You know, and I felt that, you know, really VAR wasn't really needed that much because of the standard of refereeing, if I'll be honest. But when it did go to VAR, there wasn't that many things that I thought they got wrong or whatever. So I just think the standard of refereeing, look, even in the VAR decisions, you know, we've got clowns running ours at the moment. You know what I mean? Some of the decisions are just shocking, you know, and unbelievable. And, you know, so you've got these good refs, and I don't know who was running them, the refs, and what, they've done a blinding job, fantastic job. Set a standard, set a bar, and let's see if the Premiership can keep with it. Because if they don't, you know, the product's going to deteriorate. It's as simple as that. You know, it's no good having great players, great stadiums, great this, great that, and the actual officiating, should I say, is poor, and you know, not of a standard of everything else. And unfortunately, isn't. You know, it's not VAR's fault that it's rubbish. By the way, it was the people running. It was the people.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100% agree with that. 100% agree with that. With the England then, who was your player of the tournament for England?
Oh, that's a difficult one. I felt that I would say that Luke Shaw come through flying colours. If I'll be honest, like, you know, I'm going to have to say this: Harry Maguire, come back from injury, was unbelievable, considering he'd been out injured for so long. So the two Man United boys done really well. I'm going to say Pickford. You know, much maligned Pickford before the tournament, done well coming through there. But I just think that Sterling probably just nicked it from everybody else. I would love to have seen Grealish play a little bit more, if I'll be honest. But Sterling for me was up there. I think really, I wouldn't say carried us, but certainly the performances in the beginning when I didn't think we was that great. He come up to the plate, if I'll be honest. So for me, Sterling probably was England's best.
Yeah, again, 100% agree. If it wasn't for him, when I was so-called captain, fully showing his Spursy bottle job mentality, it was Sterling who saved our bacon, if you will, and got us where we got to that point.
Yeah, he did. Harry Kane come good in the end. If I'll be honest, he did do well in the end. He had a couple of real poor games to start off with. I have to say, I don't really know what was wrong with him, but the goal gave him confidence, and I think that if England are going to go were we was fortunate. I don't think it was Harry Kane's best tournament. We didn't have really that great opposition, but if we had tougher opposition, we needed him to be at his very, very best, and he wasn't in that tournament. If I'll be honest, I felt that he faded in the final as well.
Yeah.
But stepped up with a fantastic penalty, I have to say.
Yeah, the penalty was fantastic. But what I will say is, or what I need to say actually, is a massive big up to you, Lee, because I was watching and I noticed that every time Harry Kane scored, you didn't celebrate in the slightest, and I loved it. And I absolutely loved it. And I thought, you know what, that is Arsenal through and through to the core.
No,
So I was happy. I was happy with that because I can't do it. I can't do it. When I seen Harry Kane score, I was happy for England, but it wasn't enough to celebrate. I couldn't celebrate the goal because it was Harry Kane, because I knew he plays for Spurs. I can't do it.
Exactly, and it's nothing personal on Harry Kane or nothing personal on Spurs. You know what I mean? I was talking to a Spurs fan about it, and I said, look, what's the difference between Sol Campbell and you got they wouldn't celebrate Sol Campbell. I said, well, take club allegiances aside. It's nothing to do with club and oh yes, it is. It's something to do with Sol Campbell. The thing is, and I said, take it as a compliment. He's given me 5 years of hell. You know what I mean? The diving, the penalties and things like that, goals that he scored against us. I've never, one of the things that England, I want England to do well, but it's never, because of the tribal scenarios of it, I always find it a lot harder to follow England with a passion like I do, say, at cricket, rugby, or the Olympics or anything else, because of that tribal. The World Cup was a nightmare with 5 of them playing every time. You know what I mean? It was a nightmare. I never really enjoyed it. You know what I mean? But look, Spurs fans have said to me they never celebrate Sol Campbell. It was a lot easier to not celebrate Sol Campbell because he was a defender. Harry Kane's going to get a few goals all the time, and it's just the way I feel. For me, I can't go on hating a man for 9 months, not because he's a nasty person or whatever, because he's a Spurs player scoring against Arsenal every time he scores against Arsenal. So that was the reason, and it was never nothing personal, and I can't enjoy celebrating Harry Kane, and then now I've got it's all over now. Let's start
Exactly,
calling
yeah.
them all names and things like that. You know what I mean? So I'm one that I stuck to my principles on that. I can't believe that it went absolutely mad with people having a go at me. Some people really being nasty, other people saying, "Oh yeah, well done" and whatever. You support your team how you want to support your team, and. Because I didn't celebrate Harry Kane goals, it didn't mean to say I wouldn't want England to win. As I said earlier on in the piece, you know what I mean, that I was delighted when England were going through and buzzing around, and singing the songs and everything like that. But that's how I am. I'm sorry, you know what I mean. Arsenal, if I had a choice between Arsenal winning the League Cup and England winning the World Cup, I'm sorry, this Arsenal winning the League Cup. It's as simple as that.
Yes.
Club versus over country all day long, and
Yes,
that's
Lee. Yeah, I respect that. And that's why I had to big you up massively, because I loved it. I loved it. The fact that you didn't celebrate, I was loving it, because like I said, I was doing the exact same thing. I was like, I'm happy for England. I'm not going to celebrate the goal because of who scored it. Simple as that.
Yeah, so listen, there's a lot of people like that, you know what I mean? And listen, if you celebrate Harry Kane's goal, no problem. I've got no, do you know what I mean? I've got no beef with it. If you celebrate Harry Kane's goal, or if you was a Man United fan celebrating the Liverpool goal, whatever, or don't, I've got no problem with it. And if you do, I've got no problem with it. I don't really, I'll never get upset with someone because they're not celebrating or not, so there you go. So, it is what it is. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Speaking of Arsenal through and through, our star boy Saka, the player and the warrior that he is. Obviously, sadly, he was subject to a lot of horrible racial abuse online. What was your initial reaction to that? And do you believe that social media platforms are doing enough? Is our government doing enough? And is our Prime Minister doing enough? Is he doing anything? What are your thoughts on the whole sort of...
Just disappointment, really, about everything, really. This is the trouble with... And people say to me, well, you know, get behind England and all that. And then they go and let themselves down. You know, people will have a moan at me for not celebrating Harry Kane's, and then someone, a lot of them, you know, feels it's right to racially abuse a player because he's missed a penalty because of the colour of his skin. It's, you know, shocking. It wasn't just the racial issues that were brought there. I know a couple of fans that were coming out of the ground. You know, a couple went to the game frightened for their lives, frightened for their safety, because fans are running riot, getting drunk and wanting to smash things up and things like that. You know, the whole thing. Going back to the social media, what gives you the right to criticise someone for missing a penalty in the first place is beyond me. And then because of the colour of their skin, it is ridiculous. And you know, someone pointed out to me, I say it's controversial, when it is controversial, said, like, you know, look, you know, the 2 white boys scored and the 3 black boys missed. You know, for even to see that, you know what I mean? I never even envisioned, you know, it's 3 players missing goal. I would have probably, if anything, I'd have said, oh, it was 2 Man United players missing. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, I had a few Spurs fans going, I see your boy, your Arsenal cost us it and things like that, which is banter. I get that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but to, you know, for a player to step up for his country, you know, and be knowing that if he misses, he's going to be racially abused. Come on, like, you know what I mean? It is shameful. It is shameful. And yeah, I think that platforms like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, the government can do a lot more than what they do. I think that, you know, if you want to put yourself to an account, you have to go through, you know, if you go to the bank, you have to put the right details in. And I think that should be with these platforms are making enough money to be able to do that.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean? And enough is enough now. Enough is enough. And it's not just because we've had 3 boys miss a penalty. There's other, you know, other things that have happened when things are not going, you know what I mean, for these people feel like it's got, you know what I mean? If you say something to me and I feel it's controversial, I'm not going to get on online and abuse you for it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so it's not just, it's society now, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know why you feel that you want to, you know, like the thing with me with the Harry Kane thing, you know what I mean? Yeah, all right, have a go at me or whatever, like, but then started calling me a bald this and CUNT this and you know, like sexual names and things like that. You know what I mean? Come on, you know what I mean? And for guys to be abused, you know, I don't know what it's like because I've never been racially abused, you know what I mean? But for guys to go through that at 21 years of age, 19 years of age, and 20 years of age, whatever, you know, footballers shouldn't be going through that because of the colour of their skin. It's wrong, and it's got to stop. It's got to stop. And I don't know how you're going to do it, if I'll be honest, because there's always a bit of racism with banter and things like that, you know, and blah 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 blah. But enough is enough now. Enough is enough.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, the only way that I can think at the moment it would be to go ahead with this verification of the account. You know, then everyone's accountable for whatever they're posting or tweeting, and everyone can, and you know, police and whoever can find out straight away who that is, where they are via the IP address and all the rest of it. You know,
stop most of it. Anyway, that will stop a lot of it anyway. Because you know that if I call you a name, or someone else calls someone else a name, or even, like, you know, gets really personal with me, which, you know what I mean, there's accountability. Or I better not say that, because they know that they can trace me or whatever.
And that's what it is. There's no fear. They know that there's no repercussions of saying whatever they want.
Exactly. So they feel that they've got free it to do whatever they like. You know what I mean? Like, and at the end of the day, to feel that you've got a free hit to racially abuse someone or something like that. Come on, you know what I mean? Come on, it's not on. It's not right. And yeah, this stop it. You know what I mean? Like realistically, you know, let's be honest. It's a minority of people like in the whole context of everything. Like, you know what I mean? But it's growing. It's growing where they feel that, oh, I can do this, like, you know what I mean? But if you was to say, right, you've done that, you're nicked or you're going to prison or you're going to that's what you got to do. But what you're doing is, oh, nothing's happened, let it go. Oh, I can do it again.
Exactly. Yep.
I'll have a go at somebody else this time, like, do you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, for me, the problem is obviously we had at the start of the competition with the players taking the knee, and the fact that our Prime Minister was able to say, you know, for those who want to boo that, can boo that. That's where, you know, sorry?
Why would you want to boo it?
Exactly. If you don't agree with it for whatever reason, then just leave it as it is. You don't have to actively boo it.
Exactly. You know, listen, I know black people that have said enough's enough with that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and probably myself. You know what I mean? All right, okay, let's move it on, do something different. But because they're still doing it, I'm not gonna ever. Why boo it? Why would you boo it? Like, you know what I mean? Why would you boo the national anthem of other teams? Yeah. I don't get it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, and like, it's not a good thing, is it? You know what I mean? It's not cool to boo because players are getting on the knee. What is good about it? I just don't see it. You know what I mean? Like, and you know, listen, maybe it's time to change it to something else. I don't know, but ultimately, you know, it's never offended me, and I don't understand why it would offend anybody else. I really don't. I don't get it. I don't get it.
You and me both, Lee. You and me both. Let's move on from there and wrap up the England and Euros segment of it. I think you touched on it earlier in the piece. Do you think Southgate should get the sack, or do you think it's time for him to? Is it time for England to look elsewhere, or do you think it's time for Southgate to get the sack? Do England need to move on from him, or do you think he got us to the final and he deserves another 2 tournaments?
Difficult.
Obviously, yeah. I mean, he'll be obviously in charge for the World Cup, but
it's a difficult one. And I look at this and a little bit like related to Arsenal with Mikel Arteta winning the FA Cup. You know what I mean? People are giving the benefit of that. I think England are in an opportunity, a window of opportunity with some fantastic players for the next, not just this one, probably the World Cup and the Euros after that. 2 or 3 tournaments with the young players we've got. And there's an opportunity. And I feel that we may miss out on getting anything because of the manager. Now, that would be harsh to sack him after what he's done, getting them to the final. But ultimately, you know, got them to the semi-final of the World Cup last time. Anytime we played anybody decent, we lost. You know, so and I feel that, you know, we took on a poor Germany team. Let's be honest, they were poor.
Yeah.
As soon as we take on a decent Italian team, we found it. We was found wanting. Listen, Denmark were a decent side without a centre forward. You know what I mean? I think even like Germany would have been a lot better if they had a top class centre forward. We've got 3 or 4. You know what I mean? We could afford to leave 1 or 2 of them at home. So we're in a very, very fortunate position where I think we're in a very, very strong position over everybody else, you know, because of our attacking options. And I think that we could actually, if we're not ruthless, miss out on winning things because we've got a manager that's not quite experienced enough for it. Look what Mancini done. And that ultimately, as Gareth Southgate learned from the World Cup to the Euros, no, because he was very, very negative again. I think if he'd have been more positive in the final, who knows? Yeah. So I think it's going to be very, very difficult to say get rid of him. But sometimes if you're going to be successful and be winners, you have to have that ruthless mentality.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I mean, yeah, echoing what you said. I feel like with the amount of talent that we've got, you know, to work with, is Southgate getting the best out of the individuals as a team? You'd probably say not. I mean, like you said, you know, he's done fantastic to get us to the final, first final in 55 years, was it?
Yeah, but it's still, it wasn't, you know, listen, if they'd got us to the final and we'd have played, say if we got to us to the final via the way Italy had done it, then I'll be saying, you know, oh, right, yeah, quality. But he didn't really have anything to do until he got to the final. But in saying that, that's not his fault that we got an easy route to the final. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a difficult one. It is a difficult one.
Guys, when you're watching this, comment below whether you think it's time for Southgate to go. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. That's a wrap for the Euros in the England segment. Let's move on to our favourite topic, the Arsenal. Obviously, this week started with the new home kit being launched. Do you like it?
Yeah, I do. I've got to say, I like the kit. I think it's nice. Not as nice as the yellow one, if I'll be honest. Not too sure. If I have a little criticism of the collar, I'm not 100% sure with the collar, if I'll be honest. But, you know, it's red and white. I like, you know, anything Arsenal with a badge on it. I like it. So, you know, I think the best thing about Arsenal over the last year or so has been the kits. That's disappointing when I say that, because it's true. The kit's banging and the warm up stuff and everything like that. But you know, I'd rather see a decent team tucking into them, like, you know what I mean. But it's not happening.
Lee, question for you: does purchasing the Arsenal kits at this moment in time mean you can't be cronky out?
Tough one. No, I don't think it does. People will say that, you know, that if you buy the kit and all that, it doesn't affect Kroenke and things like that. I know people that won't buy the kit. I'm not buying the kit at the moment not because of Kroenke out or whatever, because I want to see, you know, I want to see Arsenal spend some money before I decide to spend my money.
Yes.
So, you know, it's a difficult one, like, you know what I mean? Listen, if someone says to me, I'm not buying a kit because of they want Kroenke out, I'm not going to argue with them about it. You know what I mean? Like, I get why they're saying it. And if someone wants to go and buy the kit, I get that as well. You know, it's a nice kit and things like that. But what I will say about anybody buying a kit is that, you know, to get the authentic one, it's £100. You know, like the authentic shorts, £43, just to have a black, like a blue band in the back or something, which is different to the £33 ones. At the end of the day, you're spending a lot of money, hard-earned money, which has been hard to get for a long time, but you are prepared to do that because you like the kit, whatever, blah, 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 blah. You're prepared to give up something else to get that shirt. Whether it be going to the cinema or going for a meal or whatever, like whatever you do, you do. Arsenal have got to go through that sort of attitude as well on the transfer market, you know what I mean? Like, and when they show the ambition of selling kits as like they do trying to buy players, then I think the more people will buy things.
Yeah.
You know, and so far it's not been a bad transfer window. It's not been a great one, let's be honest, but there are signs. But ultimately, I don't think that because a fan buys a kit, they should be condemned to say that they're a Kroenke in or a Kroenke out. I really do. I think it's a difficult issue on that, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's difficult because you buy the kit, like you said, because one, obviously you like how it looks, but more so than anything, you buy it because you love the club and you want to represent the club any way you can.
Yeah, you know what? Listen, if they was to buy something rubbish, no one's going to buy it, are they? They're not silly, Arsenal. You know what I mean? That yellow kit is banging. I've got to say that. You know what I mean? It's a lovely kit. But so they're not silly, Arsenal. They're not going to bring out a kit that no one's going to like and then expect you to buy it. You know. But you're saying they've done that with that bleeding white and red thing last year, and people went and bought it. You know, and you know, hardly ever Arsenal hardly ever wore it, did they? You know what I mean? So. Yeah, so you know, fans are gonna. It's very, very. It's like saying to a fan, "Don't go to the games." You know, and it's a very, very difficult one to do that. Don't buy the merchandise if you like it. You know what I mean? The fact is, the matter is that every one of us loves Arsenal Football Club for whatever reason, and everybody supports that club the way they want it. And there's no right or wrong in how you support Arsenal Football Club, in my opinion. If you're vocal, if you're critical or whatever, I have no beef with anybody that supports Arsenal. You know, I know fans that are deluded, if you like, if come the word, that you know, believe in Arsenal at every word. I won't go on criticising them because they've got that way. I've got my views and whatever, and it's only an opinion. And so I think that, you know, if you want to go and buy something from the Arsenal, I don't think you should be ashamed of doing it. And if you don't, and if you do, I don't think you should do that. And I also don't think you should be telling people what to do neither. I don't think it's the right to say, right, you don't go and buy this, don't go. I don't go and buy a program no more. I used to, as a youngster, used to collect all the programs. I don't go and buy a program no more. I don't buy merchandise like say on the day of the game. I don't go in and have a beer in the ground. I you know, if someone buys me a beer, I might drink it. But you know what I mean, I'm not going to go in there and spend money in that stadium because of the way things are. I feel that I spend enough in there by my season ticket. So, but you know, ultimately, what people do in their own way is up to them, really. And you know, so you can only, I don't know, advise or whatever. It's, you know, that's what I do. Listen, between me and you and the gatepost, it probably don't make a damn bit of difference that I don't buy a beer, don't buy a program. Doesn't mean that. But so whether does it mean something if someone buys a shirt or not? The ultimate thing is, if Adidas launched that Arsenal kit and no one bought it, not one single person bought that, there would be a big statement that every fan is not happy with Arsenal Football Club. You know what I mean? Like, and that would be a very, very huge embarrassment to the shop owners. They're all standing, you know, like the owners, if they're all standing there and no one bought the kit. You know what I mean? But that's never, ever going to happen.
No.
Never.
No, that's not going to happen. Speaking of Cronkies, obviously we had the famous line from Josh to be excited. Is it time to be excited? I mean,
Are you excited?
I'm going to say no. If you know what, if we get Arwa and Madison, I'll be excited.
Yeah, exactly. You're not excited at the moment, and nor am I, because the signings that we've actually got at this moment in time are nothing that we need. I'm not saying that we don't need. That's the wrong thing to say. They're not the essential things that me and you know we need. We know that we need a central midfield player to go alongside Partey, and we need a creative midfield player.
Yeah,
that's what Arsenal need to make Arsenal better. Now, you saying a while and Madison, all of a sudden, well, we're not saying that we're going to go and win the title and all that, but we'd be excited that we've got a chance of getting to somewhere we want to go. Now, if you look at that, that would be fantastic. Getting in Ben White is a good move, but Ben White's a central defender is not going to be. You know, we need a central defender, but we know that there's areas to look at, and I'm not excited until we fulfil those areas, and we're linked with this man, this and that. Well, I want to see us actually bringing them in. Now, if we do bring in these players, then you know, it's fantastic. And then people turn around and say, well, we won't get them, and we don't expect this player and don't expect that player. Well, why not? The Cronkies are billionaires. You know what I mean? Like £150 million to them is nothing.
No, exactly. And
so if they want to fork out and put that money in, they can.
I feel like it's the fact that we know how much money they have, or you know, to an extent, we know how much money they have, and the fact that they don't invest that in the club. That's where it gets to the.
We're not saying give it to us. We're not saying give us the 150 million. And you put 150 million pound in, you'll get that back and more, because you start winning things and start getting things done. More fans will want to buy this and do that and all that. Like, you know, that will be there. Also, you know, you have to say it that if you buy these players young, which just seems to what the Arsenal were doing, you know, you can sell one of these players I'm not saying which one, and get your money back in 2 or 3 years' time,
Yeah.
and still have success. But at the moment, you put in it. Listen, Arsenal they bought Gabriel and who else they buy last season? Partey last season. Wasn't enough to get us from 8th to 8th. That's what I'm saying. So bringing in 2 players and like another central defender, which is what we're going to do, and a midfield player today that don't really know too much about.
Yeah.
And I'm not pretending that I do. But obviously, like, it's been bought for potential and things like that. That's where's that going to get us? Not no different to where we were. We've got to go in big. We've got to smash them. Some big time players above us. Liverpool. We've got to try and break past Liverpool and Manchester United before you get to Chelsea and Manchester City are on another level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But Manchester United, by the way, were, if I recall, a lot better than us last season, and they're spending on Sancho. They're going to spend on Varane. They're going to bring in another 2 or 3 players. So
I think that's what gets to us as fans the most is obviously looking around and knowing how far we've already dropped. In comparison to the original top 4, and we're nowhere near because our owners aren't doing what they're doing.
We're nowhere near it now. We're nowhere near. If the season started tomorrow, we're finished 8th, maybe 7th, maybe even lower when you look at the likes of what Aston Villa are going to be doing at the moment. They've looked like they've improved a little bit. So it's not only just ones looking at the top. You've got to look at the people below you who are also like making waves. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, Leicester, are a team now that I think if would you bet your mortgage or your life on Arsenal getting above Leicester next season? Because I certainly wouldn't.
With the signings they've made.
Yeah, not with the current players we have. So Arsenal have got to do some real business in the next week or so, and I expect, honestly, before they go to America, some more business.
Yeah,
certainly
definitely.
once they come back from America. But before that game against Chelsea on the 1st of August, I expect Arsenal to be something like what they're going to be like in 2 weeks' time with midfield players. And if they've still not signed no midfield players, I don't blame the Cronkies for that, because Mikel Arteta has turned around and said that the club will be back, and the owners are backing him to the hilt. So if you're not getting the deals up, the club, so as far as he's telling us, he's being backed. So why are they not getting the deals? So someone's lying if that's not true. So we'll see, and this is why I think it's a very, very important transfer window. At this moment in time, we've done okay so far. You know what I mean? Getting Ben White's a good deal. Getting what we've got at the moment, we've got
left back.
So 2 good backups coming in, but they're not. No one at this team, apart from Ben White at the moment, is going to walk straight into that team and make a difference.
Yeah,
and that's a difference.
Speaking of players obviously coming in, does Arsenal still have that pull, that attraction that players actually want to join?
100%. Ben White, don't think other teams are not interested in Ben White, you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, people criticise Arsenal for overspending on Ben White. People have been criticising Arsenal for not overspending for the last 5-15 years.
Yeah.
So, you can't have it both ways, you know what I mean? If you're going to get somebody out of a club, sometimes you have to spend over the odds. That's what you do. You don't think Manchester City are going to get Harry Kane for 30 million, do you? They're going to play 100, 120 million if they're going to have to pay over the odds. Same as Jack Grealish. You know what I mean? I think Jack Grealish is worth 75 million at the top. But I tell you what, he'll go to Manchester City for 100. But why? Yeah. Because they've forced the issue. So we've had to force the issue with Ben White, which is great. We might have to force the issue for the midfield player that we need, and Maddison. Is Maddison worth 60 million? Maybe not. Maybe he is. But we might have to go 65. Pepe's certainly not worth 70 million pound, or 75 or whatever it is. But to get him, we had to do that. You have to do madness every now and then. And is Sancho worth 79 million pound? Not in my eyes, he's not. But they're not going to sell him for 50 million, are they? Which is probably what he's worth.
Exactly.
You know, that's how it is. Harry Maguire, was he worth 80 million? No way. But to force him out of Leicester, Manchester United had to pay over the odds.
Absolute facts. Absolute facts, Lee. Absolute facts. I mean, my personal take on the hopeful Ben White deal. Ben White deal to be completed. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it. He's a very good defender. He's young. He's English, and you know, 50 mil, like you said, in comparison to some of the players you've just mentioned, is nothing. It really isn't. Like you said, Harry Maguire, and you know, you've got the likes of a couple of seasons ago. You had Nathan Ake going from Bournemouth to Man City for 40 mil.
Exactly. Did you play 40 mil for Ake?
How many games has he played? Like 2?
So Manchester City paid over the odds to get him, but no one moans about that, do they? No one, you know, no one's going on about that, you know. And don't think, you know, like Varane's going to be cheap when that comes along. You don't think Real Madrid are going to pay let Manchester United off on a cheap deal? Of course not. You know, even though that they've got a lot of financial difficulties, that ain't going to happen. So I'm happy with the Ben White one. Do you know what? I don't care. It's not my money. I don't care. You know what I mean? But we've been crying out to go for players. You know what I mean? Like over, you know. Now I get it. What fans are saying, like, you know, if we got Madison over the odds and all that, but ultimately, let's see what happens at the end of the day. And you're right, what you're saying. If we're gearing in a while and we bring in Madison, we've got Ben White and we've got the 2 backup players as well. I think that we'd say, you know, that ain't bad. You know, I mean, yes, we could have got a right back. We might even well do. We could actually go there. But don't forget, we've still got some very, very young, talented players in the team, in like Martinelli, Saka, Smith Rowe. So, and also, I look at it and I think to myself, okay, Ben White, Gabriel, Tierney, ain't a bad back three that with 3 players there. If you had perhaps Chambers in there, just say that it's not the worst back 4 in the world, is it?
No,
you know,
definitely
and
not.
I look at that and I think it's all young, so we could get away with it. I would like to see a right back come in, you know what I mean, of the ilk of Tierney. And all of a sudden, you've got a central defensive partnership there that can develop and last for a long, long while. So I don't think it's all too doom and gloom, but ultimately, we've still got to sort that midfield out.
What would be 4 realistic signings for you?
I think that Aouar is a realistic chance, but when you look at someone like Aouar, Arsenal chased him for a year. Why wouldn't they chase him again this year? So I think that's realistic. I do think that Maddison's realistic because I think what I've heard is that he's willing, you know, to come and have a new challenge. And I think that at the right price, Leicester would sell. I'll be blatantly honestly with that. I think that if we could get a Basuma in there or Locatelli or whatever his name is? Yeah, I would go with Basuma more. One, because he's Premiership proven, but ultimately you've got the African thing there where you've got to go in January. We're going to lose a few matches, so you know maybe going to someone in Europe would be more sensible.
Yeah, that's what scares me. You see, with the Basuma deal, I strongly believe that's why Arsenal / Arteta haven't just gone and got that deal done, because it's blatant that obviously he wants to come, but the fact that he'll be missing alongside Partey in the heart of the Arsenal, and Arsenal were known to have that massive hole in the midfield. Partey's come in and we're almost nearly there back to having a really strong centre mid partnership. If we were to get Basuma, it would be really strong with Partey and Basuma there. But if both of them were taken out, regardless of who would come in,
that is why maybe they are looking at the European link. You know what I mean? Like if you got in Locatelli, for instance, like he could actually go alongside Partey, and if then Partey has to move out for a little while, you could probably get away with it. Like, you know what I mean, by bringing in someone's back up for 3 or 4 games. Let's be honest, it's 3, 4, 5 games, but there are 3 or 4 important games in there. Tottenham being one of them. So it is something that you have to think about. But ultimately, if Basuma's the one that they want, then I think like for 4 or 5 games or a month out of 4 or 5 years, I will go for it. But ultimately, these competitions keep going. I was under the illusion they were going to change this as well, like so that it was all going to marry up with everything else. But it seems to be we're still doing it. Listen, the World Cup's going to be in bleeding December,
So yeah,
you know. So I don't know, but you know, maybe there is something in that. That's maybe why they're looking at that. But hopefully, at least they're looking, you know. So I think that would be the ones to go for. I would actually maybe look to freshen it up top as well.
definitely.
Maybe giving another wide. But I would like to see. I know people laugh at me at this, like, you know, seeing Pepe go down the middle now. Good finisher. Try and develop him going down the middle. Because I just think that with Lacazette and Aubameyang, they're going to get no better than what they are now. And I don't mean that no disrespect to them. They're in their 30s. So, you know, 2-3 years' time, they're not going to be around. So I wouldn't be adverse to see either one of them go. And we bring a more young, hungrier striker like. But we'll have 100%. To wait.
So, Lee, give me 4 names. 4 names of players, 4 players who you'd bring in.
I would bring in Max Aarons as a right back. I would go down that route if we could go that one there. Basuma, Awar, and Madison.
If we were to get those 4 players, where would you say we finish?
We would get in. I think we'd get top 4 with being in not being in Europe. I think would be a massive thing for us. So I don't think that we'd win it. I think Manchester City is still strong, but ultimately we've got Ben White and we've got a decent young back 4, and I think that we'd come close to getting Champions League.
And what do you think? So do you think that's what Arsenal's objectives are for the next season? Is it strictly just to get top 4, or is it to go all out and go for the title? Or
well, listen, you know, if you aim for the bullseye, you know you might hit the 25, mightn't you? Like, do you know what I mean? In things like that, you're going for the double top. You know, like you might hit the treble. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? You've got to be pushing for it, and who knows? You know what I mean? Like, if you've got all those players in and you get off to a good start, I'm not saying that we could win it, but like with the other teams being in Europe, we could, you know, be a surprise package. Yeah. But at this moment in time, you know, we're getting nowhere near it. But, you know, and I think that if we was to bring in those 4 players, for instance, I would look at it and think, like, if you don't get top 4, then, you know, I'm looking at the manager then. I am really seriously looking at the manager that, you know, that can't get those players in the top 4. You know, just for instance, if we got those players, Aubameyang fired again, Martinelli fired, Pepe fired. We've got firepower up front that can, you know, Saka, Smith Rowe. We've got options there in abundance. You know, get that midfield right, get it properly sorted. We could be a surprise package. But, you know, I'm not convinced that we will do, like, do you know what I mean? But you know, there is a chance. We are being linked with these guys, and if we do get them, you know, it would be listen. If we was to get those 4 players, whether we win it or we don't, or we get into top 4 or we don't, I can tell you what, it'd be exciting, it'd be enjoyable, and I would actually look forward to going and playing teams like Manchester City and Chelsea instead of dreading it, knowing that, you know, that we might sneak something, but ultimately we know that we're going to Manchester City this season, we're going to get beat. We know at Man United we're not going to win. We know we go to Chelsea, we're not going to win. Yeah. We know that if we go to certain teams, we're not going to get Liverpool. We ain't going to win. But with those players there, you think, do you know what? We can give it a go, and who knows, we might win. And I'd rather be in that position than in the position that we are at this moment in time.
Absolutely, 100%. Lee, we're going to wrap it up with a quick fire round now. Funnily enough, you've mentioned a lot of these players, so this will be pretty straightforward. But let's go. So, Aarons or Lamptey?
Aarons.
Basuma, Neves or Locatelli?
Basuma.
Madison or Awa?
Madison.
Sell or keep Lacazette?
Sell.
Yeah, it's time to go. It's time to go. Sell or keep Aubameyang?
Sell.
A funny one, Zaha.
Love him.
Bring.
TheGymGooner.
Statement signing. If you could pick any, realistically, obviously not Messi, Ronaldo levels, Mbappe, Haaland, but realistically, a statement signing for you.
Grealish. There you go. Grealish would be a bang on big
Statement signing, yeah.
signing for Arsenal. That would be a big intent if Arsenal were to sign someone like that.
Arteta in or Arteta out?
Out.
Edu in or Edu out?
Can you ask me that on the 31st of August? At this moment in time, I'm still going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say in.
And every Arsenal fan's favourite, the Cronkies, in or out?
100% out. I want to see someone that cares about Arsenal Football Club running my football club.
100%. Lee, I knew it was going to be a blast with you, and it absolutely has been. I can't thank you enough for coming on and giving me your time today.
No problem whatsoever.
It's been an absolute pleasure, mate.
Good luck with the
Guys,
channel. I'll be supporting from now on. So good luck with it and everything, like, you know. So
thank you very much. Thank you very much. It means a lot, guys. Obviously, you know Lee from AFTV. You know Lee's own channel, Lee Judges TV, is up and running. Get over to his page, comment, like, watch his videos, and subscribe. Stay strong. Take care.